So my life is starting to follow a very familiar and painful pattern now, and that is death, taxes, and the Cowboys losing in the divisional round. Yep, happened to them once again, losing in the divisional round, losing to the 49ers again, 2 years in a row, losing in the divisional round to the 49ers in another painful, heartbreaking fashion. Not in the sense that some devastating last second, kind of loss, but just in the sense that, man, really losing in the divisional round again. Actually, I shouldn't even say again. Last year they lost in the wild card round, but this year they won their wild card game, but losing in the divisional round and not making the NFC Championship game again for another 28 straight years have not made it past or to the NFC Championship game, a statistic that I just find to be just the utmost just embarrassment when you think about all the teams that have made the NFC Championship game over the years. And the Cowboys, America's team, can't even say that we're one game away from a Super Bowl. Have never been able to say over the last 2 decades that we've won at least 2 games in a single playoffs. That's what you have to do to at least reach a championship game, or I guess at least win one of the divisional round, but you know what I mean. And yeah, what was tough about this game is that even though the 49ers are a juggernaut, playing great football, number one now, 12 straight games, the Cowboys had a chance just because the defense played their ass off. The defense played great football for pretty much the whole game. They really only had one drive where they weren't very good. It was the George Kittle drive where he made the crazy catch, and then, the 49ers just ran it down their throat from there. But, defense ain't going to shut down a team like the 49ers, shut them out. But the defense really held their own, holding them to 19 points with how they had been playing. But it was the offense, specifically Mr. Rain Dakota Prescott, is the one that really let him down here. Dak Prescott, after having what I thought was his best game as a pro, the game against Tampa, the significance of it, the pressure on the team, specifically him to do well after he had a really bad kind of end to the season, all the turnovers and shit like that. Played an unbelievable game against Tampa, which, I think most people didn't exactly know how it was going to play out and blown them out. And then you get to this game, and he was just not good. And, the 49ers got a really good defense. Everybody knows that. But, in these kind of moments, you got to step up. You got to be something special. And just too many times, these big games, Dak isn't really like at a special kind of quarterback in terms of making that play. He needs everything to go right for him. And his turnovers just killed us in this game. It was just devastating turnovers to watch, because you had the first one that he had in the red zone of the 49ers, and thankfully the defense was able to bail him out, hold him to a field goal. But I feel like the second one was even worse, the one at the end of the first half, just because the Cowboys are in the 49ers red zone, going to get some points, at least 3. It's a 9-9 game. This is a close game, so you just got to get those points. And he has it intercepted, basically. It was like right at the goal line and shit. And from then, I was just like, you got to be fucking shitting me. I couldn't. From that moment, I knew it was like, in a game like this, giving up those kind of points, it's just not, it just ain't going to work out. And sure enough, the second half was offensive ineptitude from the Cowboys, just not a whole lot going on. Not even mentioned. So that's Prescott is just, I'll get more to him later, but it's just a lot of question marks about him now. But then the Tony Pollard thing, that was something that really I felt tilted the scales. I thought offensively we were holding our own in the first half, but when he went down with that ankle injury, and it was basically looked like the exact same thing that happened to Patrick Mahomes the day before. And yeah, he didn't make it back for Tony Pollard. I knew that was just going to change things offensively, because then you heard Greg Olson say, all right, this is Zeke's game. It's time for him to get it. And it's all like, Zeke ain't no bell cow running back no more. You can't just run him like that. And I knew just like, oh, no, we needed Pollard in this game. We needed all hands on deck to face a team like the 49ers. But even with Pollard going out, the team, Prescott just didn't play well. And it just felt like It's just the same kind of level of play he had in the wild card game against the 49ers last year. It just did not play well. And it's a situation where it's just like, where do you go from here? Team's got a lot of free agents. It's not going to be the same team next year. The offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, likely looking for a head coaching job at this point. I think he's kind of proven himself to be good at his stuff. And then big one is Dan Quinn. Losing him, it's really going to affect the defense because he's done a great job for us these last few years with that defense. So it's going to be tough. And of course, you're still paying Prescott, way too much money for what I consider to be average, slightly above average quarterback play. And we're losing these pieces now. And so, like, at what point you just gotta, because McCarthy's doing okay. I mean, he's led the team to freaking 2 straight playoff appearances, 2 straight 12-win seasons. It's more than any other coach has done in the last 20 years. And Prescott is just, and it's always the same thing. Gets to the podium, he's always good at the podium, but it's all like, at what point the guy at the podium or the guy, the person, because Dak's a good person, obviously, the play on the field just isn't, it's just not getting it done. And this is just not, it just doesn't play at a championship level, I'll put it that way. And yeah, once again, comes down in the fourth quarter, final gasp for them, and they just couldn't really get shit done. I know people were sort of wanted to go after McCarthy because of his clock management, letting time go off the clock, but I just figured you need those timeouts. So, however, I mean, they got the punt team on there, I guess, as quickly as they could have been better, but in the end, they able to get another shot. Well, in part because the 49ers, that guy Mitchell had a just real brain fart and letting the time go off, just getting out of bounds. But whatever, it was kind of false hope at that point. You're not going to drive against the 49ers with like 40 seconds to go and no timeout. So another devastating loss for the Cowboys. And as a Cowboy fan, I just feel kind of done. It's all like, at what point? You just keep hoping. If the standard for your team is, hey, I just hope y'all can make it to the NFC Championship game, let alone Super Bowl, you got bigger problems. And the team just consistently comes up short. 49ers got their number. Eagles are better in the division right now. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get sucked in again next year, but it's just tough, and this team is just it's gonna look different. Zeke is another one where it's the final year of his guaranteed money. I definitely don't see you won't see him back on the same contract. That's for sure. He's just not giving you much anything anymore. So the Cowboys, just another year of devastation in the playoffs, and I feel bad for Jerry Jones because you can tell how much he wants it. Just another Super Bowl, just get a taste, even just to come close. Like I said, you don't reach an NFC Championship, that means you're not even a game away from the Super Bowl. So you really there, you really contender. There'll still be a good team next year, but it's just at some point, a window with the team closes, and this team, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being dramatic after a loss, but this loss was devastating just because you just back-to-back playoff appearances, just the taste just to get to the NFC Championship game and be a game away from the Super Bowl, make it. It is what it is. So yeah, sucks to be me. So like I said, death taxes and the Cowboys not reaching the NFC Championship game, or not winning the divisional round. Yeah, I really botched that saying. But to the Cowboys' credit, they were able to keep things close. I mean, it was a competitive game, obviously, which is more than what I can say, obviously, for that Bengals versus Bills game. Yeah, I picked the Bengals to win this game, even though it was in Buffalo. I didn't know about the inclement weather thing, but it wasn't even competitive. Not really, anyway. The score was 27-10. Didn't really even feel that close. Bengals really just had their way with them in the second half. And I mean, at the beginning, they even were up. They went up 14-0 within like the first 6 minutes. And as soon as that happened, you're like, uh-oh. And you already knew, because the way these two teams play, the Bengals are just better situationally than the Bills are. They just play smarter football, more efficient football. And the odd thing about it is just the fact that even though the Bills play in Buffalo and should be sort of built for these inclement weather conditions, the Bengals are a much better balanced team. And Burrow and Jamar Chase, those guys get all the headlines, but they can run the ball with Mixon. They are able to create a smart short passing game to sort of get yards and stuff like that. The Bills, just situationally, it's just like they just don't have nothing. They're just, it feels like they're out there just winging it and shit and don't have really the proper game plans and stuff like that. And you saw that even though the team was, I mean, the Bills are obviously, a good team. They were on like a 9 or even like 10 game winning streak. They had not lost in a while. But it's just, you saw in that game against the Dolphins where it's all like, y'all should have gotten taken out by the Dolphins. If they had a better QB, if Tua was able to play, probably would have won that game. They really outplayed them in that game. And it's just not good. I mean, Von Miller thing obviously wasn't helping them. The fact that they didn't have him, but even without Von Miller, I saw something on Twitter. It said that Von Miller was supposed to be the missing piece, not the only piece. And so, even though you lose him, you still got to figure out a way to get things done. And I just think they have to rethink their football team, the Bills, just because not being able to run the ball, being too Josh Allen centric, and then Josh Allen himself, turning the ball over a lot this year, regressing from how he had played the past couple of years. They just got a lot of work to do in rethinking their team because now forget about chasing Kansas City. You got to worry about the Bengals now, who are clearly on that level. The Bengals they're definitely looking really good, really great right now. Burrow is cool and calm and collected as it get. Definitely the next Tom Brady with how he plays, how he thinks, all that kind of stuff they has going for them. And they definitely got themselves a real chance to get back to the Super Bowl again, just because it would have been a great game anyway, and they would have had a great chance to win. But now that you're dealing with Mahomes and his high ankle sprain, says he's going to play, but it's clearly he's not going to be the same. He was not the same when he came back in that Jacksonville game. So they're gonna be running into, they have a great chance just because Kansas City's game plan, it's going to be different from the Kansas City and obviously the Mahomes that you saw throughout the regular season. And the Bengals have had the Chiefs number anyway, but now with Mahomes hobbled, I probably would have picked the Bengals anyway. But with Mahomes hobbled, yeah, I got them winning that one next week. I think that's one that's going to work out in their favor in that game. So yeah, that's how that game went. Definitely wasn't the competitive fireworks show that people thought. I don't know how many people knew about the whole snow thing, but goes to show that the Bills got to rethink their team because oddly enough, a team that's in Buffalo is not really built to play in Buffalo. They're built more like a dome team, a finesse team, and that ain't gonna get it done in those elements. So maybe home field advantage isn't such a great thing for them, and they don't need to be chasing that number 1 seed no more because it ain't really working out for them. You do have to wonder, though. It just goes to show how hard it is to really reach your goals. Because look at the Cowboys, not being able to reach the NFC Championship game in goddamn freaking 28 years. And now you have Buffalo, who, was on the precipice the last few years, and now they've kind of hit a wall in this divisional round. And, is their window closed? I don't think so, but I do think they need to rethink their team. So there you have for that right there. So when it comes to Championship Sunday, another Cowboys less Championship Sunday. For the 49ers versus the Eagles, I got the 49ers winning that one. I love their roster. Their roster is just unbelievable, so good. I think they'll be able to get them in that one. And then for Bengals versus Chiefs, I got the Bengals winning that one. I would have picked them even without Mahomes getting banged up. But with Mahomes getting banged up, yeah, I think it'll work out in their favor. They're going to go back to the Super Bowl. So we're going to have a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl, as heard here first. So that'll do it for this recap vid of Divisional Sunday, Divisional Weekend, I guess. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.